ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
It's Monday, May 11th, the start of a new week, and we are going to recap a disappointing weekend. ECU baseball loses a series that really damages its chances at getting an at-large bid for the NCAA tournament. Still a lot to play for seeding, still a lot to play for. One projection has ECU winning out and finishing with a top 40 RPI in the regular season, so we'll run that scenario as well. But we'll talk about the series loss to Rice at home. Obviously, the big Sean Jenkins news. He will miss the remainder of the season, have to have arm surgery. We'll get into that. We usually catch up with Cliff Goblin on these Monday shows. We will not have Coach today. He let me know over the weekend they've got a recruit in this morning, so we're going to catch up with him later in the week. They are scheduled to play Campbell on Tuesday and then go to FAU Thursday through Saturday with the conference series looming. Also, softball, one win away from a conference title and a return to the NCAA tournament. So we'll talk about the softball season as a whole. We were out there for the conference championship against South Florida on Saturday. Tough loss for the Lady Pirates, but Shane Winkler said a lot to be excited for the future. So we'll get into all that. As always, comments section is open on YouTube, Facebook, and X. If you got something to say, drop it in the chat. We'll get to it over the course of the hour. Obviously, we'll be talking a lot of ECU baseball this week. Continue to look at that large picture. The conference race is absolutely crazy. And if you miss any of our shows, any of our breakdowns, you can check it out, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. At some point this week, we are going to dive into some basketball roster construction breakdowns and really dive into how that thing is coming together. And also, we'll continue our football roster discussion as well, coming out of spring practice. All right, we got Philip Pilkington. He's back in the 94.3 The Game studios. Philip, how you doing on this Monday as we start another week of ECU sports talk and sports talk in general?
Yeah, I'm all right. I mean, I'm fine, but it's a tough weekend to be a Pirate, you know? Some weekends are like that.
No doubt. The life of a Pirate is really not for the faint of heart, and this was just another weekend for that. So I don't know, man. It's a lot of people down. It is weird that usually we're doing these shows after, let's say, a Sunday loss, at least this year. At least ECU finished the weekend on a high note. Maybe there's some positives there, but still a disappointing weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it. It was good to see Charlie Hoagland go out there, a freshman, close the game out. That was really good. Overall, solid day on the mound. And look, at the end of the day, we're just trying to find guys to eat innings, but they're not going to go out there and be able to piece together 9 innings like that again. You only scored 3 runs yesterday, and still, man, it's like starting to make the baseball team starting to look like the softball team, where it's like, I know they can win 2-1. Can they win 7-5? I don't know.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing, man, and we'll get into the injury situation with Jenkins, and I firmly believe, look, if you have a healthy Sean Jenkins, you win the series. So, I mean, that you can't deny that. Obviously, you really did play well Friday, and Joseph Webb, they've been riding him hard. He just ran out of gas, and you could say, hey, why stick with him so long? Why not pull him when he clearly didn't have it? I think that's a valid question, but at the same time, who else do you trust to go in there and get the final outs? Now, we saw on Sunday maybe some guys step up in that role, but as of Friday, you know, you didn't really have anybody you felt good in that position. They put Paxton into the game. He got hit as well right after Webb had already kind of lost the momentum, and you also were a play at first base away from at least sending it to the bottom of the ninth with a chance to walk it off. And, I mean, you look at these last 2 series losses, Philip, and for all the pitching injuries, and they have been shredded on the mound with pitching injuries. Closer, Sean Jenkins down. Gavin Van Kempen, Saturday guy, probably would have been your Friday guy the way he was pitching, down. Colby Weber, stud freshman, probably a future first-round pick, down. That's 3 premium arms. That's not even to mention Moran and Tolik, others who have missed a lot of time this year with injury. They have been good on the mound and should have won the last 2 series. You lose that Saturday game to Memphis 5-3. Your offense was a no-show. Sunday, they lost 9-4. Things got away late, but that was a winnable game for a while. And then Rice, you still only scored 5 runs on Friday. Saturday, you hold them to 5. You give up 2 home runs. Ethan Norby, I still think you should be able to win a college baseball game with 5 runs given up on a Saturday. And then even yesterday, you score 3, but who expected that to be 1-0 entering the bottom of the 8th? So, at the end of the day, man, I don't want to keep crushing the position players, but that's where the issues are. It's not even on the mound right now. It's just the position players are not delivering enough.
Yeah, the injuries on the mound you're worried about those when you get into postseason play, when you're playing other really, really good teams. But right now you're playing in a weak conference, right? So as long as these guys are serviceable, which they have been, you should be able to win games. You're better than any of the teams in this conference. And, I've talked about it, I think, with you, Steven. I asked Cliff about it, talked about it with Dylan, with Coach O. Ethan Norby threw 108 really good pitches the other day out of 110. Credit to Rice, they made him pay for the 2 bad ones. But again, where's the offense? I mean, yeah, it stinks. You gave up 2 bombs, but overall, Ethan was really, really good. He had his stuff. He had 10 strikeouts. You've got to be able to back up your pitchers. Every ace is not going to have the correct line every day. I mean, it's just not. I mean, the greatest pitchers in the world even have their days they throw 2 bad pitches and pay for both of them.
And Rice was exactly what we thought they were going to be. Now, I will credit them for the 9th inning of Friday's game. Outside of the Irby error, it was not a situation where ECU gave them the game. They came out the 9th inning and they hit Joseph Webb. And, they're not really a team known for just bashing the ball around the yard, but they did it in that 9th inning. And the error obviously made it worse. But we got exactly what we thought we were going to get from Rice. A lot of strikes. Not many free passes. They were going to leave their starters in the game. They went to their go-to relievers. Not overwhelming stuff. Now, their closer, Thames, the two-way guy, football and baseball, he had some electric stuff, but even still, no excuse to be going down looking in the bottom of, I believe, the 9th inning on Saturday multiple times. But, they were, as advertised, maybe throwing strikes is half the battle in college baseball, but you knew you were going to get a lot of fastballs. You knew you were going to get a lot of pitches in the zone, and ECU just did not string anything together. So that was what was most disappointing to me. You knew what you were going to get. Yeah, Rice is solid on the mound, but I thought ECU offensively would be able to take advantage of some of their decent arms, and they just weren't. Now, I do, it was good to see Grady Linehan get back. I think he's still going to need some time to work back into shape. But really, Davin Whitaker had a good weekend. Jack Herring had a good weekend. Braden until Sunday was not great. And then, the bottom of the lineup, Phillip, really outside of Parham going yard yesterday, it just felt like they did really very little all weekend. It was just a dead zone down there at times.
What were those 2 names you named that had a good weekend?
Jack Herring and Davin Whitaker.
And what were the 2 names that Cliff Godwin called out by name and said that, they play with heart, they play it the right way at the beginning of last week on this show?
Jack Herring and Davin Whitaker.
There you go.
Yep. There's really only so much to say about it. Another good outing from Ryan Towers on Friday. I mean, that's the other thing. You pitch well enough with Towers and even Norby with the home run ball to win both those first 2 games. You end up losing them, so that was disappointing. What do you make? And I know Parham had a good game Sunday with the home run, but I still am a little confused about the Lashley Parham situation. And I know that a lot of this is defense, and we can't ask Cliff today because obviously we don't have the interview, but Parham has better range, and I do think he's playing a better shortstop. But offensively, he's hitting 180. He's giving you a 582 OPS versus Lashley hitting 295 with an 814 OPS. Lashley has walked and gotten hit by a pitch 22 times compared to 14 Ks, whereas Parham has struck out 21 times compared to 4 walks. And I'm glad he had a good home run Sunday. That was big, but I don't know, man. I feel like the bottom of the order without Lashley consistently is a struggle. And obviously Barron's kind of, I think, beaten down a little bit just given the amount of catching he's done, and the Irby struggles are well documented. So I'm just still a little perplexed. And then they pinch hit Lashley for Wallace on Saturday, that was also a bit of a questionable move in my opinion, although he had a decent at-bat. So what do you make of the shortstop situation?
There's the old saying, the three places you can sacrifice a bat for good defense is center field, shortstop, and catcher. I agree with that. However, I think I agree with that when you're scoring runs everywhere else. Right now, what does this team need more? I think we need hitting more right now than we do fielding. Yes, it's important to field the ball well. Yes, we're really banged up on the mound, and you don't want to give away free 90s. And it did seem like there, right before Parham got benched, or before Parham got brought in, Lashley got benched, there were some innings, like the NC State game at home, where Lashley made some errors, and with how depleted our pitching staff is, it was like, well, there's no coming back from that. So I understand the mindset Cliff's got. There's definitely two ways to look at this. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. However, when you see how few runs this team scored this weekend, I would prefer to go offense over defense right now. That's just my personal opinion. But again, we might not be having this discussion if Kobe Weather and GVK and Sean Jenkins were all healthy. You'd probably definitely be going more the offensive side of things because you trust your pitching staff to get you out of situations if the 8 guys who are supposed to be helping them out screw it up.
Fair points for sure. Let's get into some of the comments here from the chat. Cameron says, only 34% of our rosters are players from North Carolina. That is crazy. We are not even top 10 in the state for percentage of North Carolina players. It's our biggest problem. No idea what has happened with recruiting. Yeah, I mean, they've gone away, Cameron, from some of their roots in recruiting. I do think they are getting back to that. This is a really good class, the 2028 cycle for some local talent. So I expect them to get back to that, but it does feel like they've kind of gone away from their roots and have lost maybe some toughness because of that. And obviously you can't only recruit from North Carolina, but I was surprised to see that number that low too. And even you look at this year's team, obviously Herron, an out-of-state guy, but Burris, in-state guy, Whitaker, in-state guy, Wallace, in-state guy. And those are 3 of your top, hitters clearly on the mound. With Jenkins, he's an in-state guy. Joseph Webb coming back, in-state guy. Ethan Norby, in-state guy. So there is something to that for sure. And I think ECU does need to kind of evaluate that going into the offseason. All right, some other comments. Lane Smith says, what a huge disappointment. We could be in first if we could have beat Rice and the Tigers. This conference is awful, including us, and that should never be the case. Excuse me, this team is weak, absolutely pathetic. Lane Smith, who I think was positive Lane Smith last week, now going back on those comments. Kenny Curlins, he says, I know that I said 6-1 down the stretch, write it down, but I'm dyslexic, so it was 1-6. Hope y'all wrote it down with a pencil. So shout out Kenny Curlins. Brian Wallace says, impossible to predict what is going to happen day to day. And Jay Hobbs said, disappointing series. We'll have to win the tournament to get in the postseason. Maybe the worst season in years. All right, well, I think last regular season was worse than this, to be fair. Let's all remember ECU had 0 shot in that large. There is still a shot. I'll break it down after this break, Philip. But I don't know, man. I mean, it's been another frustrating year for sure. I think you saw some of the emotion. Obviously, Cliff Galvin's asked about Mother's Day, but I think this season's a worn on him. We talked about it on our Monday chats, and I think Brian said it best. You still don't know what you're going to get. Every time I walk up those steps of Clark LeClair Stadium, I'm just like, all right, let's just see what happens. I'm done predicting this team.
Yeah, I think so, right? Like most teams who are not performing at the level that we want to perform at kind of point to one thing or two things. Whether it's, hey, we don't have the bullpen arms. Our starter and our hitters have got to get us ahead earlier, this or that, or whatever it may be. Like, for example, the team across the street. Let's use them as an example. Like softball, you know what you're getting out of the pitching staff. You know about what you're getting out of the hitting staff. You just hope that you can win that 2-1 game and not lose the 2-1 game. Like, you at least know. It's like roll one of those 20-sided die and there's 20 different outcomes that the game could have. It's weird. It's unpredictable. And that's where you kind of wonder what it is. And I think the common denominator in these last 2 seasons that have kind of felt that way are the just group of guys in the clubhouse. Because clearly that's not normal if Cliff Godwin coached teams and Austin Knight pitching staffs. So, I don't know, man. I just hope these 2 years are a blip on the radar. I don't think we'll ever be back to being like a guaranteed host just because of the portal and the fact that you lose the Bristol Carters and the Zach Roots of the world. Same reason that Gonzaga's hanging out in basketball, ranked 15 now instead of 3. But could we still be where it's like, hey, we're a bubble host team where we're sitting there having this conversation going in the last week of the season going, well, if X, Y, and Z happens, we're going to host. And if not, I guess we'll have to pack our bags and go to, insert SEC school here. Like, I can live with that, but yeah.
It's just a challenging spot. And even schools like LSU, Vanderbilt, Clemson, all really struggling this year in baseball, and all have been, obviously LSU just won the national championship last year. They're going to have to win the conference tournament, get into the tournament. Vanderbilt, we know how good they've been under Tim Corbin. And Clemson, Eric Backage, they've been a perennial host team for, really since he got there. They're going to have to win the ACC tournament to get in. So the ups and downs of this sport and all of college sports from year to year are going to be extreme given the nature of the portal and NIL. But I am with Philip in that. I do think ECU is going to still be in the hosting mix, hopefully, more often than not. But at least every now and then, it's just maybe will not be that consistent dominant run we saw from 2018 through 2024-ish, where ECU was in the hosting mix every single year. All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll continue on. We'll look at the conference standings. Man, what a cluster that is. After this weekend, absolute chaos. Memphis beats UTSA in the series. Obviously, ECU losing that series. And, hey, I said ECU's at-large chance is probably done. Realistically, I think so. But I'll tell you how Warren Nolan has the Pirates finishing, and that would put ECU right back in the mix for an at-large bid. So we'll break that down after this on Hoist the Colors.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice.
Welcome back. You got here just in time. This is Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
All right, segment 2, Hoist the Colors here on May 11th. We'll talk some softball later, kind of do a little bit of a eulogy on that season as the Pirates take another step forward under Shane Winkler, but come up one win shy of a championship. In segment 3, we'll talk about that. We'll continue on ECU baseball discussion. Again, comment section is open. We'll have further baseball talk tonight, Bucks on the Pond as well at 9 o'clock with Scott Lohrbatcher and Jonathan Wagner. Which Wags, by the way, is Philip Pilkin, and rejoined us back in the 94.3 The Game studios. He told me that this is probably the weakest bubble he's seen. He still has ECU out of his tournament. Let me make that clear. But ECU could theoretically play its way back. Now, before I get Philip going, and I agree, I don't see ECU winning out this week. There is technically still a path if we want to be optimistic. If you are the optimistic kind, you can look at WarrenNolan.com and you look at the predicted results under each team. Warren Nolan, Philip, projects ECU to go 4-0 this week. We'll talk about the Campbell game in a minute if that game even gets played. But they have ECU going 4-0, which would put the Pirates, which are currently 52 in the RPI, that would have them finishing 39th in RPI, 43 strength of schedule, 43 non-conference RPI, 34 strength of schedule, 20 non-conference strength of schedule. That would probably have them just above the cut line. The problem is they haven't won a road series in a year and a half. Not quite that long. A year and a month, I should say. And FAU has won 5 series in a row. They also haven't beat Campbell in, 4 years? So a lot has to go right.
Yeah, a lot does. I mean, this team's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde this past week sucked. So, hey, maybe we're due for a 4-0 week. I don't know. Gosh. You know, I think the tough thing, Stephen, though, like, yes, if you win that out, yes, you get top 40 in the RPI, theoretically. You still got to play the conference tournament. Now, you would be a 2 seed if that happens, or potentially the 1 if the chips fall your way, which I don't think TSA would get swept, but you never know. You're going to potentially lose 2 games in the conference tournament. And now the one perk is with the new format, you play less games. The downside is what happens if you go 2-2? As opposed to maybe in the past if you would have went 4-2. So there's less opportunities to win when you're on the bubble. So when you're on the outside looking in, you want more opportunities to win. When you're on the inside looking out, you know, you want less opportunities to lose. So, man, there's so much going on. And the tough thing is, Wags is right. It's a weak bubble. However, the other teams on the bubble are playing against the teams that are so far in, and so far in even national seeds, that one win for NC State, if it's against Georgia Tech or North Carolina, think about what that does. It does more than ECU could ever even dream of doing this late in the season. So that's the tough thing. You're not playing good teams to beat once you do get to the conference tournament. So if you slip up and lose twice, does it erase going 4-0 this week? Not entirely, but it kind of does.
It would put a huge dent in it. And I mean, I think the only way ECU would feel good or even slightly good going into Selection Sunday Selection Monday without winning the title would be if they won every game now up until the conference title, because then you would only have 1 loss in that scenario. And then you'd win, 6 in a row if you won, assuming every game would be played. So you'd probably be mid-30s RPI, and then if you lose, maybe you finish around 40. You still wouldn't feel great, but at least you'd feel good. And that at least allows you to avoid multiple losses. But the bottom line is they have blown it the last 2 weeks, and now they need to play their absolute best baseball without error to get even to a point where they feel good. And the realistic side of it is it's probably just not going to happen, but there is a path. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I tweeted probably the end of at-large chances after they lost the series to Rice, just because obviously the numbers, but also they haven't proven they can win a road series, and they haven't proven they can beat Campbell. So I've heard mixed things on the Campbell game being played. There's no rain in the forecast. Campbell is currently 69 in the RPI. Nice. As they get set, they're coming off a loss to 10-43 Bradley. And they dropped 11 spots in the RPI just because of that loss. So they're 69, and they play UNCW on the road this weekend. ECU obviously has a critical series at FAU. You have all these teams canceling games due to RPI reasons. My thing is, I think both teams, ECU probably more than Campbell, could use a little bit of a boost. You're not going to get a huge boost here. It's a quad 3 game, theoretically, with the RPI and it being a home game, but you still get some points for the win. I just don't know who either team would pitch. But also, if this game gets canceled, and I have a text out, I'm asking some sources if this game's going to get played. I haven't heard back yet. If this game gets canceled, then why are we even scheduling this game anymore? This game needs to be eliminated from the schedule. And also, ECU needs to quit going to Bowie's Creek.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there has been years where there's been weather, right? It's May, it rains. But I think it's just this whole thing of you have to schedule 56 games. I don't know. Do you get in trouble if you schedule less than 56? Is that possibly what it is?
I think you have to at least put 56 on the schedule. But yeah.
Does the Ivy League put 56 on the schedule?
They can do whatever they want. They're the Ivy League. Okay.
Fair enough. Because they're smarter than us. They get smart people privilege. I don't know. That would be my only thing. You asked me the question. That's the only answer I got. I don't have anything else. I know I've been a loss for words a few times on this show, but gosh, we're a loss for words type of. Yeah, I mean, shoot, here we are. This thing started on Valentine's Day. It was 3 months ago, and I think I've said all I can say over the last 90 days.
Do we have the cut from Cliff Godwin pregame yesterday? Yeah. I want to play that before I forget. So. Since we're not talking to Cliff today because he's got recruiting to do, which, by the way, I know somebody is going to want to draw their own conclusions. Cliff is not ducking the interview. They have recruits in, and they need to recruit. We talked about it. They need to recruit, whether it's JUCO, high school, whatever. They need help. So he talked about just kind of the mindset of some of the players, some of the changes that they need to make going forward pregame yesterday with Dylan Johnson.
Yeah, our issues, as crazy as it sounds, is really not on the pitching side. Our issues with a consistent mentality from a position player group, and, that's on me. But at the end of the day, we're either going to learn how to do that in these next few games that we have, or we'll get better players.
All right, there's Cliff Godwin there. And, I mean, they're recruiting. Obviously, if you're not recruiting to try to get more talent and recruit over your current players, then as a coach, you're not doing your job. So, it's important to continue to do that, but that kind of says it all, man. We've hit on this all year, Phillip, and at this point, it really just comes down to, for me, they got to get back to their recruits, recruiting the right type of people. We know Cliff Godwin is a bit of a unicorn as far as a head coach with the culture, the way he runs things, and if you don't have the right people within your program, I don't think they're going to excel. So I think that has been an identification of, even during this crazy era we're in, we got to get back to recruiting the right mindset and people.
I think you do. Look, I'm just going to go out there and say this. I don't think it's easy to play for Cliff Godwin. Cliff Godwin is a hard ass. I mean, I'm just going to say it. He is. And there's nothing wrong with that. So is Vince Lombardi in the Super Bowl trophies named. But it takes a special type of player to play for these guys. And especially, I think it was easier 20, 25 years ago to find young men who wanted to play for those guys. Now, let's just be honest. These kids are soft. A lot of them are soft mentally. And you've got to find the guys that are tough enough to play for Cliff Godwin. And Cliff's not going to change who he is. And I'm not asking him to change. He shouldn't change who he is. But he even kind of hit on it last week. Maybe it's time to quit recruiting talent and start recruiting the mindset. I just don't know if these guys are buying into what he's doing, and I think that's a lot of the problem. I think there's a lot of talent in that room. Maybe not the talent they've had in the past, but still talent enough to be, hey, man, is it a 2 seed, is it a 3 seed kind of deal? But I don't think that they respond to his being as tough as he is, and I think there's just some weak-minded guys in the locker room. And you know what? I think he needs to go back to what he did. I mean, look, man, there are some guys that used to play for this team that were not that talented, but boy, did he get the best out of them because they bought into what he was trying to do. I mean, look at our line of shortstops we've had. Was Joey Barini that talented of a player? Heck no. But dang, did Cliff get the best out of him. I mean, the way he's moved guys around, moving AMAC from the outfield to the infield, moving Carter Cunningham over to first base. I mean, he's done so many things that you've just got to lock in and do. And I don't know if this group knows how to lock in and do those things.
Well, I mean, we continue to talk about Davin Whitaker and Jack Herring for good reason because they fall in the category of where I watch fall practice and I'm like, these guys are not going to play for ECU because they're just not good enough. And look at them now, man. They've bought into his way, and like you said, not everybody's built for that. I mean, I know there's been talented guys that ECU has recruited. They met with them, and the coaching staff is just like, yeah, look, we love you as a player, but the mentality is just not going to work here. You're not going to play, and there's got to be some balance. That they were very close to not taking Connor Norby at one point because originally he did not have the mentality to play at ECU. They took him because he had talented, and guess what? He was not playing his freshman year. He had to change his ways, and look at him now. So, I mean, it is a unique situation. I do think Cliff is much different than any other baseball coach you'll cover or see, but he does things a certain way, and you got to find the right guys now more than ever maybe because I guess there's less of them, Philip, with the way society's changing. That's kind of the vibe I get.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, we'll continue on. I tell you, let's get a break in. When we come back, we will hit the baseball standings in the American just quickly, and then we'll talk softball. Pirates coming up a win short against South Florida over the weekend from winning the championship. We'll get to those two things after this.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
In Eastern North Carolina, people appreciate things that are straightforward, honest, and dependable. For decades, our team has focused on cutting through insurance complexity for the communities we serve. And now, we're bringing that same mindset to our name. We're Flatlands Insurance Group, a simpler name that reflects the same local team, the same values, and the same commitment to the great communities we feel blessed to be a part of. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world is covered.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Inner Banks Media presents the return of Concert on the Common.
This year, we're live from the tailgate lot at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium.
Coming up May 21st, Trial by Fire, a tribute to Journey.
Join us Thursday, May 21st for Trial by Fire at the new Tailgate Plaza next to Town Bank Tower at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium.
Details at concertonthecommon.org.
Remember, get the podcast of the show on the IBX Media app or where you get your podcasts.
You don't have to tell me twice, I'll remember it exactly.
Steve and I go and Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Hoist the Colors here on a Monday. Let's take a look quickly at the league standings, and they are crazy in the American. UTSA loses its first conference series after winning 18 in a row. They go to Memphis, which apparently is the new juggernaut at home. After beating ECU 2 out of 3, they beat UTSA 2 out of 3 in Memphis to try and secure a spot in the tournament. But the Roadrunners still 2 games ahead of ECU, which lost the home series to Rice. Pirates are 14-10 in the league. UTSA 16-8. UAB is 13-11 and could theoretically tie UTSA by sweeping the Roadrunners on the road this weekend. Rice also technically in the mix at 13-11. They have lost the series to UTSA already. But you look at it, man, this is just ultimate chaos. ECU in second place at 14-10. The top 2 seeds in the tournament get a bye, a double bye, and will only need to win 2 games in a row to make the championship. You also have UAB and Rice tied for third at 13-11. You have FAU and Memphis tied for fifth at 12-12. Wichita State and seventh at 11-13. And then, of course, the bottom 2 teams in the league don't make the conference tournament field. You have Charlotte at 10-14. Tulane, if the tournament started today, would be out at 10-14. South Florida, which have one of the best records overall, 9-15. They're in trouble because they do not have the tiebreaker versus Charlotte or Tulane. They host Wichita this weekend. They will probably need to sweep Wichita to pass them and to pass Tulane and or I just blanked Charlotte. So what I'm trying to say here is, Philip, is usually in the past, this is a week where teams will basically pitch off, which means they'll save their best pitchers or throw them for a very short time, saving them for the conference tournament. But with as much at stake as we see here, I just don't see really a scenario where anybody can afford to do that. Now, maybe once you get later in the weekend, it becomes that, once seeding is more solidified. But ECU could finish anywhere from first to, fifth or sixth, depending on how this thing plays out. So it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, there are 2 teams that are locked into the conference tournament, mathematically. That's insane. Rice is in 3rd place and could finish as low as 9th. Look, man,
that's crazy.
I know. Now, the thing is that these teams do play each other, right? So it's not just as simple like, yes, mathematically ECU could finish 8th, but they can't because too many of these teams are playing each other. I think, Thursday and Friday are going to be really important. If you can go out there and win a game Thursday and Friday, and this is not just East Carolina thing, this is just a lot of these teams, you're in a good spot because not only do you have 2 wins now added, but you've given one of these other teams you're probably fighting with 2 losses. Now, the tough thing, Stephen, is how important to each coach is each group of seeds. For example, 1 and 2 are created equal, 3 and 4 are created equal, and 5 through 8 are created equal because of the buys. So, if you're locked in, say you're sitting in 3rd going into Saturday, worst case scenario, we fall to 4th, we can't get to 2nd. Okay, yeah, you might pitch off. What's the real difference in 3 and 4? But what if you could fall to 5? You got to play an extra game. You got to play a single elimination game. There's a huge difference in being 4 and 5. So there's that side of this too. I think there's going to be, you might have a team or 2 pitch off on Saturday, and that's it.
Yeah, that's very well said. And, if you're ECU, obviously you control your own destiny for the 2nd seed. If you sweep, you're locked into it. That's a double bye. If ECU could somehow win the first 2, FAU, I think, would be, depending on what happens beneath them, blocked into that first 8, and they may pitch off, depending on what happens. I guess there's a scenario if they get swept and some of these teams below, maybe they could get left out, but probably the odds of that are slim.
Yeah.
So, maybe if you win the first two ECU, you kind of get a watered down FAU team in the series finale, but obviously a lot has to go right there. So I'll tell you, we'll break this down a lot later this week going into the conference because we're not going to go through every scenario because I think our head would explode on the air. But
and people would just zone out.
Yeah.
I think they'd be like, I can't keep up with this.
We've
Especially
tried
writing
with
it down.
conference tournaments for basketball in the past, and it was too much. So we'll just break down some of the simple scenarios, but look deeper into the schedule. I do want to hit on softball, give them their love as well because, I was out there. Philip was out there for the whole tournament for the ECU games. I was out there for the semifinal and the final. First off, major kudos to the Pirate Nation showed up on Saturday for the noon first pitch against South Florida. I thought the atmosphere was tremendous. It was basically, just shy of, I guess, a sellout, even though they don't sell tickets. They at least announced, 921, which was a record attendance.
Yeah.
And it was a good atmosphere. When ECU started the game well defensively, the crowd was into it and on the mound, obviously. So, unfortunately, they just didn't have the offense this season to come back from big deficits. So they had to hold games at 1-0, 2-0 deficit or 2-run deficit. And they just made some crucial errors in the Saturday game. They got them behind 5-0. That was just too much to overcome, especially with Ann Long on the mound for South Florida. She's a really good pitcher. So, but overall, man, the tournament, first class. Shane Winkler, first class. The whole operation, well done. And I thought Pirate Nation showed out well. And the Anna Sawyer game on Thursday night into Friday morning was one, I always remember as a fan. And then just, Friday's game, the dramatics of beating Wichita State, Julia Apostolakis getting the strikeout with the bases loaded to take them down was a heck of a game. And then Saturday, I remember the atmosphere. So I'm hoping ECU has more conference tournament hosting bids in the near future. And I know Shane Winkler is going to have this team moving in a really good direction continuously. He's been doing this for now. It's been a slow build, but he's continuously gotten better, Philip, and I think they're going to get even better next season. So I just want to give them their flowers, man. Good season for softball, and shame they couldn't win the finale, but I'm excited about the future.
I am too, man. That was, I really enjoyed covering it. Like at first I was like, oh, softball tournaments at home, I guess we're going to cover. I go to some of the games, but, it was kind of juggling that with being short-staffed here with graduation. Like, oh, it's going to be a pain. But it really started for me on Sunday, with senior day. And, they led off the game, the bottom of the first and back-to-back home runs. Shane gets his 500th win. They sweep that series. It was their first sweep of a conference series all season. And just the energy that the team carried over and the heart the team carried over into the weekend was amazing. And, as you mentioned, the game Thursday night into Friday morning was awesome. Shane was great. John Gilbert stayed till the end. He walked down there and saw me and Donnell on the sideline and was like, or down the first baseline. I was like, hey, you guys need to ask for some overtime pay for staying for this one. I was like, yeah, just maybe a little bit. And just the energy there and, getting to finally interview some of these players we don't get to. And we got to talk to Anna Sunday, got to talk to Haley Dieter on Friday, and she admitted, like, I've never done one of these before, and it was just you and I, but she did a great job with it. It was cool to see, and I think they appreciated the fact that they, were kind of being treated like the other teams, right, with media there and all that. So it was really special. Saturday was emotional. It sucked. I'm not going to sit here and say it was Carter Cunningham emotional when he said what he said, but also we knew Carter a lot better than we know any of the girls on this team, and we were in that little bitty room they packed us in. we only had to interview Shane the other day. Shane was very gracious with his time. I know it's not an easy interview for him to do, and yeah, man, that was tough to see. You never want to see anybody's season and careers for the sake of the five seniors there come to an end, but that's what makes sports great. And as time goes on, they won't be sad that it's over, but they'll be happy that it happened. However, right now they're still, only 48 hours out, and I'm sure it still really hurts.
No doubt, and softball wins the most it ever has in the American this year under Shane Winkler. So, again, continuing, and last year obviously they made it to the semifinals. This year they make it to the final. He said, him and the USF coach talked after and hope it's the first of many. Obviously, South Florida going back-to-back title champions and or winning the championship. And, they're going to be good. But I really think Lane asked in the chat, who are the top players you like to see come back? I think he's asking about baseball, but I do want to talk about this with softball because, obviously, Anna Sawyer gone. You lose, her leadership. You lose some other seniors. Dieter is senior as well. She finished really well down the stretch. But, we know softball, a lot of it is about pitching. If they can retain Julia Apostolakis and Sydney Rainford, and, Taylor Apple still has more eligibility as well. And also on the hitting side, I was impressed by Gabby Fowler's at-bats, throughout the tournament. I think she's going to continue to get better. And then, we know Sarah Stone, who Shane thinks is maybe the best player in the whole league. She's probably going to get a medical red shirt. She started the season well before getting hurt. So, and we know he can do well in the portal. So, I feel like if they can – you never know with the portal, but I feel like they're going to have a pretty good team next year.
I think so. You want to, Kenesha Anderson's a junior. You want to keep that leadoff slap hitter. He's got a really high OBP. She hit a couple home runs this year. She can bunt single. She can slap. So that's big. I would say Trinity Nichols will stay. Just local girl. Obviously Conley grad. She was the 4-hole hitter this year. Probably doesn't have the power and the pop to somebody you want in that 4-hole. You'd definitely like to find someone else in the portal or Sarah Stone to hit there. But I think Trinity's still a great defender at third and is a solid bat throughout the lineup. You would like her in that 5 to 6 range, probably hitting. Definitely not a bottom of the lineup hitter. So I think those are the big ones. Like the pitchers are the main two, Sarah Stone, and then, Gabby, Trinity, Kenesha. You can keep them, you're in a good spot, and but you definitely have to put pieces around them. Because, fortunately, I'm just going to say what it was. There were 4 girls in the starting lineup, I think, hitting over 200. Now, they knew how to – some of them were there because they're good. They're really good defense like MK, but they knew how to hit sack flies when it mattered, and they did have some situational hitting. But you can't win conference championships with that unless you've got – I mean, Julia's good, Sydney's good, but they're not – you'd need like Georgina Cork, who used to be at South Florida, to win conference championships with girls hitting 200.
Yeah, and if they can retain that core, build on it, I really think could be a complete team next year with the power Shane likes to have and with the pitching, obviously, he had this year. All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll hit Lane's question from a baseball perspective. Who are the top players we would like to see back on the baseball side? Obviously, season's still ongoing, but we'll hit those as well. To wrap up the show after this.
Get ready to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with major deals on brand new Toyotas like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $279 a month. Now's your turn to save at Greenville Toyota.
In Eastern North Carolina, hard work matters, and it always has. At Flatlands Insurance Group, we've been showing up for our neighbors since 1963, helping families and business owners navigate change, weather tough seasons, and keep moving forward. Decades later, our purpose hasn't changed: to help protect what you've poured your time and energy to, from your home to your health to whatever comes next. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world covered.
At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Bring on the savings with new Toyotas from $159 a month at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts like Corolla's $159 a month or Tacoma's $249 a month. Save today at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken, or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
A hunting and fishing event of the summer comes to the Greenville Convention Center, July 11th and 12th, bringing together the best hunting and fishing vendors, outfitters, and fishing experts, all under one roof. Special free events, including a mountain trout pond, indoor archery range, offshore fishing experience, interactive duck blind, and free seminars. Don't miss it. The Mid-Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo is July 11th and 12th.
With Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, final segment here, final 5 minutes of the show. We're just talking some softball. Players we'd like to see Coach Winkler and that staff retain. We also got the question for baseball from Lane Smith. And, look, the season's still ongoing. A lot can change. We know that after watching last year's conference tournament and the regional. But I think there's a pretty clear list of guys you want back at this point. Philip Pilkington back in the 94.3 The Game studios. There's also a lot of unknown, both with the injury and the draft situation, Philip. I mean, obviously Jack Herring, senior, going to be very, very missed. On the pitching side, I assume Norby is going to move on. He's still a projected top 5 round pick. I mean, he just, even with the up and down season, he's probably gone. Joseph Webb, senior, you expect him to go. You know, Van Kempen, I don't really know what's going to happen there. He's a senior. He could get a medical red shirt. He's had surgery. We'll see what his decision is, but I don't expect him back as of now. I'm a little unclear about Ryan Towers and Gavin Marley. They walked on senior day. I have heard Towers is open to coming back, so that could give you a weekend starter. Jenkins, he's having surgery. Per my sources, it's still unclear if it's going to be the full Tommy John or the internal brace. If it's Tommy John, probably seems like he wouldn't be back even next year, at least not till late. If it's internal brace, he's probably back, earlier in the year potentially. So you have some unknown there. You have some unknown with Colby Weber coming off injury. We'll see if he's back this season. But, Burris, obvious candidate to return. Grady Linehan, obvious candidate to return. Davin Whitaker is a redshirt sophomore. He could go. I don't think he's going to get drafted. So he's an obvious candidate to return. And then, what happens with Walker Barron and Colby Wallace, 2 juniors who probably aren't going to get drafted? So you would assume they're back. So I don't know. Am I missing anybody that jumps off the page? Anything to add to that discussion?
No, I mean, probably some of the young pitchers, Charlie Hoagland you want to keep. I mean, it's been an up and down year, but heck, he's a freshman. Do we want to go back to Rose? Do we want to go back to Trey Savage's freshman year? I mean, you want to keep some of these guys. So definitely, I think we'd have to go down and kind of break guys down one by one on the staff. But yeah, as far as the position players, Colby, Walker, Grady, Braden, Davin.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things. Like shortstop situation, I feel like again could be upgraded. I really don't know at this point. I'm not a medical expert. I don't know at this point how Lashley, how much has his injury impacted his range? Can he move a lot better than this? Because if so, then I think I'd be okay with running it back with him next year. But I never saw him completely healthy, so I really don't know. And Parham has been adequate. I just want, again, an upgrade at shortstop. Corner outfield for me, shortstop and corner infield are my questions. Irby, we'll see what happens. Obviously, it's been a disappointing year. He's going to be going into his draft year. If Wallace is back, he could play third base. You do have Trammell, who could play on the corner, but he hasn't played in a year and a half. So, I don't know. It's just kind of some unknowns there, too.
I want Trammell back. I hope he can be what he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Saturday game at Charlotte last year was the last time he touched the field. So, I would like him. And there's probably some young guys that we're forgetting. I think they're pretty still high on Braden Bachman. There's also a few guys who Val and I actually went through kind of the list the other day just predicting what we thought was going to happen. There were some young guys who've redshirted this year I can't think of the name off my head, but I remember like seeing them like, oh yeah, Igo and Wags have said those guys are pretty legit that they might keep. So expect Chance Hall to be back. Obviously, is a pinch runner / defensive late sub. Yeah, that's about all I got.
Jack Strom, young outfitter who is redshirting, I think could potentially compete. I liked what I saw out of him in the fall and in the preseason. He just hasn't gotten a lot of time. And also Craddock, the first baseman, power hitting right-handed guy. He needed to make some swing adjustments. He's redshirting, but he's got some pop. Could be a guy. And I do like Bachman long-term. I mean, that's the thing, too. Some of these guys, we talked about it, like develop. You got to develop and retain. I have no problem with those guys redshirting and developing, like a Jacob Starlin, like, Norby, et cetera, that we saw do that. They're not all going to end up as all-conference guys, but I'm fine with some of those. And then obviously you got to supplement with the portal. So, look, we'll get more into the who returns, who doesn't. Jack Vogeley, Johnny Stats points out, like, I don't know. I mean, he's coming off surgery. He barely got to show. He'll probably get a medical red shirt. He's another unknown that I just don't know what to expect. But I'd be fine rostering him for sure. Yeah. So we'll get more into that discussion once the season ends, but a lot hanging in the balance, as it always is with a baseball roster construction. All right, we're out of time. Thanks to Philip Pilkinen for his thoughts. Appreciate you, Philip, as always, my friend.
Yeah, it was fun.
And we tomorrow will be joined by Kason Rameli from Carolina Curveball. One of our favorites. We'll obviously continue to talk some college baseball across the region, across the Carolinas. We'll get the latest on his thoughts. Can ECU sneak back into an at-large? What are their hopes of winning the conference tournament? We'll also check in on others around the region, see how they're doing as well with conference tournaments approaching, and maybe some hoops talk, too, on a Tuesday. We'll see you at 12 noon on Hoist the Colors.